Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni. Great Malabite, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufa.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria Tundu, MKO Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Ifeni.
Yes, you are blushing. Now let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, Twitter loses billions. Nigeria loses instant communication tools. Government communication system in shambles as agencies return to old archaic mode of information dissemination. Buhari, Osinbajo, MDAs suspend tweeting. Akeredolu, El-Rufai, Makinde defy directive. Yes, this day is reporting that the federal government's suspension of the operation of American microblogging company Twitter in Nigeria might have left both in a catch-22 situation, as the duo have lost millions of followers that they had built for more than half a decade. For Twitter, the saga has cost it billions in cash, while Nigeria, in both private and public sectors, have lost their means of instant communication. Yes, but reactions from abroad and at home. Vanguard newspaper, Twitter, free expression vital. US, UK, EU tell federal government. We remain firm in our position. US, EU, UK, Canada, Norway, Ireland insist. Federal government gives condition to lift ban on Twitter. Adeboye defies Twitter ban, says tweeting is within UN Charter on Human Rights. Deeper Life tweets from across the world. Kumuyi, federal government could have handled it a lot better, says Sanwo-Olu. Yes, he said that on this program yesterday. Now, the Nigerian Tribune, Twitter ban. Nigerians must have free access to self-expression, US. While the Guardian newspaper, yes, the Adeboye story, Adeboye, Kumuyi, defend Twitter use as envoys, again, reject ban. Now, quoting Pastor E.A. Adeboye, he defended his continued use of the microblogging platform, and he went further to say, sorry, just let me just take that quickly. Joining the Twitter conversation yesterday, Adeboye said, tweeting is in accordance with Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. And of course, he used the Twitter to give his reaction. That is not defense, it's only defending his position. The Redeemed Christian Church of God is domiciled in more than 170 nations and territories. The tweets here are in accordance with Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And of course, that defense you cannot question, if you will. Daily Sun, the same story, Akeredolu, Adeboye, Kumuyi, El-Rufai, Fayose, shun Twitter ban. While the Punch newspaper, police confused on mass trial order, Adeboye, Kumuyi defy Twitter ban. How do police arrest prominent Nigerians because they are using Twitter? Force, the Nigerian police asking that question. Order wrong, UK, US, Canada insist. Federal government begs global powers, alleges destabilization plot. My tweets targeted at global audience in over 100 nations, declared Deeper Life founder. News, direct newspaper, the same story. Adeboye Kumuyi orders defy federal government on Twitter ban. Now, another story from the police, the Leadership newspaper. IGP blames rivalry among security agencies for worsening insecurity. Yes, the Inspector General of Police making this declaration yesterday, and this in itself is quite telling that the unhealthy inter-agency rivalry was a major factor limiting the capacity of Nigeria's armed forces to effectively contain the insecurity bedeviling the nation. That is a problem that all heads of agencies must put their heads together and resolve. There cannot be rivalry when the citizenry are suffering from mass insecurity across the nation. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, secession agitations, Northern elders flee Igbo leaders' lack of consensus, Ekuremadu, Ngige, Onu, Okorocha, others silent. Arsonists, assailants, not different from Boko Haram. Shoyinka, we have always denounced violence. Ohaneze, Abaribe condemns attack. Ezekwesili, others blame Buhari. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper 2023, North plans to impose presidential aspirants on South. Shops for credible candidates in APC, PDP. 2 ministers penciled down. Now, this story is saying that if they're not trying to hold on to power beyond 2023, but if that fails, they will impose their own southern candidates. I don't see anything wrong in that move, because in as much as we have all said, or many of us are saying, that the presidency should come to the South come 2023, of course, it's the whole nation that will vote for the presidential candidate from the South that will eventually emerge as president. And if that has to be the Igbo, as some of us are also canvassing, it is not the Igbos or the Southeast that will determine who will be the president. Even it has to be all Nigerians, and that is the beauty of democracy. So if the northern political hierarchy are planning that they have their own southern candidates in mind, I don't see anything wrong in that. Now, the Nation newspaper, federal government declares attacks on public assets terror acts. Removal of rail tracks may attract death sentence. And the assets that are covered by this killing of policemen, attack on police stations, removal of rail tracks, attack on INEC facilities, attack on prisons, destruction of bridges. These may soon carry very stringent penalties, and the federal government declaring these acts as acts of terrorism. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly, the Guardian newspaper of UK, the Guardian newspaper, Johnson denounced by own MPs over 8 courts ahead of G7 summit. Yes, yesterday will have been a serious test for Boris Johnson, because between 40 and 50 conservative MPs were said to be considering defying the government yesterday by ambush. But the ambush was thwarted. But again, Boris Johnson, number 10 is said, number 10, that's Boris Johnson, is saying that he will defy an order by the House of Commons Speaker to bring a vote on foreign aid. The cut in foreign aid is not going down well with a number of conservative MPs, and Boris Johnson will have his hands full if he doesn't retrace his steps. Now, the Jerusalem Post, yes, Israel Watch, new coalition commits to implement cartel deal. Yes, details of incoming government agreement revealed. Bennett, Lepid to be dominant figures. Yes, the deal called for a large state-recognized egalitarian section that will be created in the southern end of the Western Wall complex, run by, yes, and okay, the coalition, we are still in Jerusalem Post. The coalition is also planning to pass a bill that will stop Netanyahu from coming. According to the details of that bill, any prime minister who has spent 8 years will have a 4-year cooling period before he can think of coming back. So the coalition, yes, but also in that front page of Jerusalem Post, Speaker Levine fails to set date for the new government to be sworn in. So the government in waiting will be on before long. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
Right, real quickly, so I'll quickly hop on the Twitter ban, and probably I'll see if I can do something about Israel. It's obvious. The minister did meet, Minister of Foreign Affairs did meet with a couple of, envoys from other parts of the world. And the word is out there. You cannot do this. We know national security is a top priority. We know the rights of people should be respected, but you cannot go ahead and stifle free speech, no matter what it is. And the argument a lot of people keep making are comparing Nigeria to China, Turkmenistan, and some other countries like that. I don't believe that argument. You see, when you talk about China, it was in China Tiananmen Square massacre happened. A very gory event in the history of China that happened in '89, Tiananmen Square massacre, that students were crushed with military tanks. Till date, China doesn't want anybody to talk about it. Couple of activists in Hong Kong did talk about it. China started raising an eyebrow. So is this the kind of country you want to copy? A country that has a Politburo, that has a one-party state? Is that the kind of country we want to copy now? Because we keep making this China allusion, and I'm shocked. A country that has a one-party state, that is a total dictator. You saw what Xi Jinping did recently. He tweaked the laws in China to make him sort of like a life president. So is that the kind of country we should be comparing ourselves with? I mean, if we're going to make an argument, let's make a positive argument. Not start calling China that China banned Twitter and the likes. So what do we want? We want Weibo, where people can talk and express themselves in China? Is that what we want?
Well, I think in the last 24 hours, 2 major developments with regard to the suspension of Twitter use in Nigeria. One, the reaction from Pastor Adeboye, the GO of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and also from Pastor Kumuyi. Now, you quoted Pastor Adeboye as having referred to Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 19 talks about the freedom of expression and the right of every individual to express themselves freely and to seek, impart, and disseminate information in any media, regardless of frontiers. Okay? And all of that is also domesticated in Section 39. And it's good to see, Pastor Adeboye and Pastor Kumuyi providing leadership in reminding the Nigerian government of the right to the freedom of expression. Even if all of that is presented in the context of the realization that, their church is a multinational cross-boundary operation. But again, you could say at another level, it raises an issue about the relationship between the church and the state. What happened to, is it Mark 12? Mark 12, 13 to 17. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tundu. Where, we're told, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But perhaps, maybe that is not the issue in this regard.
Tundu, you want to add something there?
I think we've got to go.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel.